And I dream about you all the time. Where was he? The fact that you're not holding your microphone up to your mouth is a travesty.
Tonight, girl, it's only you and me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Psh. Hi.
Thank you to Three Doors Down for opening up for our podcast episode today.
Shout out to them. I hope we don't get copyright struck.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Opening
on
act, Three
Spotify.
Doors Down.
But hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Apartment 6 podcast. I'm Jess.
I'm Marissa.
We took a week off, as you might have noticed, or you might not have. But we're back, and we're back on the special episode that took a little bit longer to plan. So it's a good, I feel like it's a good reopening episode after missing a week. But basically, about missing a week, we want to say that sometimes life comes up, and like sometimes it's that we're physically going to do things, and so we're not like around to record. Other times it's that we're not in the right headspace to record. And we both have full-time jobs, and so our recording times are limited to begin with, and so we just kind of wanted to honor that at the time, and that's probably something we're going to do going forward. We might not always post every single week. I mean, that's like the goal, and that's like the most ideal situation, but it might not always be like that. So
yeah, and that way you know that when you do get an episode from us, it's because we genuinely were excited to record and it's authentic and we're happy to be doing it. So every episode is going to be even better because of that like intention we're setting.
Right. So with that, let's pop right into our roses and thorns. Marissa, what's your thorn of the week?
I'm cheating by taking a thorn from I think a couple weeks ago now, but it was like in the time that we hadn't recorded. There was a day that I went grocery shopping and it was ominously thundering when I was entering the grocery store. And I was like, oh no, it's going to downpour. But I went grocery shopping anyway and exited Trader Joe's, and it indeed was downpouring. And I was a camp counselor. Like, I've been outside in rainstorms.
I know the elements.
Like, yeah, like I'm not one of those people that's like 100% like indoor cat, absolutely cannot deal with weather. But it hit different when I had groceries with me. So basically I like exited the store into a downpour, got on the T, took the T, and then got off and had like a 8 to 10 minute walk in the downpour with a bunch of groceries that like all got weirdly like shriveled in the rain because they got all wet. And I also I had a tote bag with me that I had bought when we were in New York that I love because it's from the Chelsea Market, which I like fell in love with when we went there. And it kind of like the dye ran off of it because it's like a really nice blue. So,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like the straps are white and the bag is blue, and some of the blue dye ran off onto the
that stinks.
white straps. And it's like made of this like odd material, so it kind of just got misshapen. Like it's not like a normal cotton tote bag that just like dries like clothes do. So it just kind of dried into a weird shape. So I'm honestly thinking about just reordering the same one from the Chelsea Market website. But all of this is to say that it was very miserable walking back with groceries in my hands. So that was my thorn. What was yours?
My thorn... I don't know what that sound is, so I don't know if it's gonna... Oh, no, it's someone on a motorcycle. They're going away. Okay. I don't know if that even picked up on the microphone, but it was just like the weirdest, like, farting noise
Yeah.
like coming from outside, and it was a motorcycle. My thorn, see, the problem with this is that I always think of like very immediate things. Like I always think of like the last annoyance that happened. And so like this is no different. My thorn right now is that like I saw a big bug in my room last night, and I saw an ant on the wall. It like caught my eye. I was sitting at my desk, and my desk has a mirror above it, and so it caught my eye in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I hit it with my slipper, and I disposed of it in the trash and whatever. Then, like a half hour later, something else catches my eye, but it's a lot bigger. And I realize that I think everyone, listen, I think it was a house centipede. And
I'm going to Google that because you told me earlier.
You don't want to Google it. I was so like the legs. So it was like I Googled long but slender bug with lots of legs.
It did have a ton of legs. These have like the most legs I've ever seen on a bug.
Here's the thing though. I feel like it's in like that
gross.
extreme. But I went to go up to it, and as I went up to it, of course, like how death works, it looked bigger the closer I got to it, and the more and more. And I was I was on FaceTime, and so I didn't want to like be like Marissa, like,
I know usually we both involve each other in our like
anything bug related
escapades.
Or pest related. Yeah, so I just like I went to hit it, and before I could even like, it's like I took my slipper off of my foot. Before I could even reach up, it fell off the wall. It must have just like been like abort mission, and it like just fell off the wall behind my guitar, and I went to look for it on the floor, and it was nowhere to be found.
Well, can I tell you something I just found on Google that might make you feel better?
I'm open to that.
There's an article called "Here's Why You Should Never Kill a House Centipede."
Stop.
And I'm too lazy to like click in and read the whole thing.
Wait, can I guess? Is it that it has a bunch of little babies in it?
No, that's what I thought when I read that title too, but the like Google like preview of the article says house centipedes are known for killing pests in your house that are completely unwelcome. They kill roaches, moths, flies, ... That's the preview.
Does that mean that there are roaches, moths, or flies in our apartment?
No, because it doesn't mean that they're like they come because of those things, but I think it means that if you have them and you do have those other things, they're good because they'll kill them. So it's good.
You know what's concerning to me though? Like it left really fast, which makes me think that there's a hole somewhere. Because remember the mouse did that? Somewhere.
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
I know.
I gotta find that hole. But I'm scared. Okay, so that's why it's my thorn. I'm really afraid of bugs, specifically spiders, specifically anything with more legs than two. I think that's the thing. I think I'm afraid of any creature with more than, say, 4 legs.
Yeah,
I like
thing's
good with dogs. I'm good with cats. But I can't. If you have too many appendages, if you have more appendages than I do, you've got to go. And I just felt very, very vulnerable. I don't like when bugs come in my space, which summer is always a challenge for that reason, because it makes me feel dirty and also makes me feel very vulnerable. And those are two feelings that when they happen at the same time just make me want to crawl into a hole and never come out.
Just like a bug.
But what's your rose?
My rose was that we finally got to watch Hamilton on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
After, I mean, you had already seen it live a few years ago now, but we both have been like singing it with each other and like listening to the soundtrack nonstop, and we would like put it on when we did puzzles, and we also like used it as a time killer when we were in New York and on a walk. We Jess was like, do you want to kill time by acting out Burn Hamilton's parts? I was like, yeah. So we just like we love it, and we were able to watch it on Disney Plus a couple days ago, and it was just so nice to like put faces to the sounds that we love.
My rose overlaps with your rose. My rose was that my mom and my dog came to town for 2 nights and kind of like
2 nights?
1 full day. She came in on Thursday afternoon and stayed with me Thursday night, and then we spent Friday just hanging out at the apartment, and then she watched Hamilton with us Friday night, and our other friend came over, and we just did like a cheese and wine night, and we all watched Hamilton, and then she left Saturday morning. It was really nice to host her. I'm really glad she got to see Hamilton because she hadn't, and I thought that she would really like it, and she did. And of course, it was really nice to see my pup.
Yes.
I just realized that we don't have a voice memo for this week.
Pish posh. We're flying by the seat of our pants here, and that's a quote from Satisfied from Hamilton.
He's penniless. He's flying by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
Handsome boy, does he know it? Okay.
Oh, it was so hard not to sing along to that. That's my jam. That's like my Hamilton song.
Sometimes I let myself sing a little bit, but then other times I was so in awe, and I liked hearing how they sang it live because it was different than the soundtrack, of course. Like, there were certain things that they would do in more character voices. Oh my
God. Eliza singing Burn live when she like screams and you hear like throatiness in her voice. Oh my God.
Wow. When I saw it, that was like the song I walked away being like,
yeah,
I love that. And if I was in the show, I would want to play her just to sing that.
So moving.
Yeah. So that was my rose, was just, again, we're just finding a way. We should have just done a podcast dedicated to our thoughts on Hamilton. We should have done a live viewing of Hamilton, and we just annotate what we're thinking.
We sing along.
So our episode today is titled Albums of Our Lives. Lives. So basically the idea behind this is Marissa and I are huge music people. We discussed this in our hobby podcast. We're huge music people. We both feel like from a young age we were very influenced by the music that was being shown to us, and we both took pride and had appreciation for the music in our lives. And so we thought it would be fun to sort of go through our lives and talk about the albums that influenced us in certain phases. So we both took notes, and I broke mine down. I think we broke them down the same way. I did like childhood, middle school, high school, college, post-college. And for me, it's like all the albums that I know I listened to in full, or I listened to most of the album. So there are definitely like a lot of artists that are missing from here. Because I also did a lot of like, now I make playlists, so I'm listening to like one-off songs from out. Like, I have so many artists that I like pick and choose their songs and have them in playlists. And even when I was younger, I remember making mix CDs. So there are a lot of people missing, but these are like the albums that I feel like just I listened to in full because I already loved the person or the band or whatever was going on there.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know about you actually, but I was like a huge like CD hoarder. Like, I have like shoe boxes upon shoe boxes of CDs. So I was sort of thinking it when I was thinking about like childhood through high school. Those were the times that I was still buying CDs. So I was kind of thinking like, which CDs did I play? Which ones did I buy? So that was like an easier way to think of albums. Because yeah, definitely now that we use Spotify all the time, it's way harder to like devote yourself to a whole album when you have so much at your fingertips.
Yeah, I also feel like I wasn't, unless it was a person who I was like specifically interested in, or a band that I was specifically interested in. Like, you'll see in middle school, I like listened to every Miley Cyrus album. I listened to every Jonas Brothers album, etc. I, even when I was younger, sort of pick and choose, I was listening to whatever I heard on the radio. Like, that's what I would buy on iTunes, because you can only buy, so like I wouldn't necessarily buy whole songs or whole albums on iTunes, but I would buy songs, and then sometimes I might buy the CD. So I definitely wasn't a huge CD hoarder, but I did a lot of selection even when I was younger. And because of Spotify now, in a way, it actually has gotten me to listen to more albums through, like, as a whole, because they're free that way.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I would pick and choose songs. And
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed. I had an iPod, but I wasn't allowed to buy music on iTunes.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense because that's probably why I bought so many CDs.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to have something on my iPod, I would have to get the CD and put it into the computer because I wasn't allowed to like make purchases on the computer.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do it. So I used to every like once in a while I'd make a long list for my dad of what I wanted. And he would be like, okay, and he would download all of them for me and whatnot.
I did that in, I want to say like late middle school. One of my friends gave me his brother's old iPod. So maybe at that point I didn't have an iPod yet. But my friend Karsten gave me his brother's old like hand-me-down iPod, and I would do the same thing with him. Like I'd be like, can you put like so-and-so song on this iPod? Yeah,
I had my brother's like hand-me-down stuff. Like I had an MP3 player because he graduated to an iPod, and then when he graduated to like an iPod video, I got his iPod Nano. Whoa. So I always got his like leftover stuff. But so let's begin with our childhood. I'll let you take it off.
Okay, so one album stands out way above the rest from my childhood for me. I will say that in general, like I describe my childhood with country music because that's what my parents listened to pretty exclusively. I do remember like my dad showing me some like Van Halen and Boston and like old like classic rock like that, but they're big country people, like always have country radio on in their cars and in the house and all that stuff. And so when I was a kid, my favorite country singer was Shania Twain. And she had an album called Up that really defines my childhood to me. There are home videos of me pacing around my living room coffee table with Shania Twain's Up on in the background, and I'm like singing along. Yeah, it's just it's like nostalgic to listen to, and it's funny because I revisited the album recently after not really listening to it in full for a while, and I was surprised that I still remembered all the words, even to the songs that like aren't standouts. Like you also have listened to that album and love a few songs from it that are like the gems, like our favorites. But I was surprised that like even when I was listening to the whole thing, those other songs that I had forgotten about, they just like were there in the back of my mind the whole time.
Yeah.
Its impact was big. But yeah, that album is just like makes me feel like a kid when I'm listening to it, which is like really happy.
Oh. I also have Shania on my childhood list, but I have Shania's greatest hits. I was wondering what album it was because I remember my mom having the album, and I remembered the cover where she's wearing like a blue skirt and a brown
black
tank top.
Yeah.
And I was like, what album is that? And I looked for it, and it's Shania's greatest hits.
Yes. I can see the album cover in my mind too. Yeah, I feel like my parents must have had other CDs in the house, but that's the only one that I distinctively remember listening to in full at home as a kid. Do you have like a childhood standout?
Yeah. The first album that I remember listening to in full and like out of my own like ambition to listen to it was in my, I guess it wasn't called a Walkman because it was technically like a CD player, but like a portable one, was the Dream Street album. It was self-titled, so it's Dream Street, and it was in 2000. That was at least like when it came out, but I found it in 2002 when I was in first grade. My cousin burned me it and gave it to me for Christmas, or not. I don't think she gave it to me for Christmas, but I remember she gave it to me around Christmas time, and I remember the day after Christmas bopping around with my like what I thought was called a Walkman until recently.
Yeah.
listening to that and like playing with my new toys. I love every single song on that album is a bop. Sugar Rush, baby, you're my sugar rush. I get weak and talk too much. Excuse me? Me. I love
First grade you was like, I relate.
Yeah. Feel the rain coming down on me. I call your name. I miss you, can't you see? And so this is, if you don't know, this is where Jesse McCartney got his start. Mm-hmm. This was the boy band he was in. Before there was One Direction, there was Dream Street. And also, my first crush was Chris Truesdale, who I just found out died. He just died within the last few weeks. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
It's not like he was old.
What timing?
I don't remember what was going on. I don't know if it was COVID related. I don't remember if it was like another underlying illness. But Jesse McCartney, who has a lot of plastic surgery.
Oh, yeah, I have seen. Yeah.
I hadn't looked at Jesse McCartney in years.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not since he guest starred on Hannah Montana. His beautiful soul is now covered in plastic surgery.
Plastic soul.
But he posted about him, and my cousin sent it to me and was like, no. And I was like, my first crush. Yeah, that's the first album that I remember being like, this is my jam.
Yeah. I feel like that album for me, because Up by Shania Twain was very much like my parents loved it, so then I took it on as like a favorite too. But that album for me, as in like the first album that I remember loving of my own volition, was Metamorphosis by Hilary Duff. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful album. I loved Lizzie McGuire. Like I remember I had like t-shirts and like sticker packs and like notebooks with the Lizzie like cartoon on them.
That's so funny because that was a teeny bit before our time.
That
was like a teeny bit before we were like full on watching Disney Channel.
Yeah, it was, but for some reason they definitely still had the reruns on, so that must have been what I was watching. And yeah, they were still selling, like they had books, like book versions of the episodes.
Oh my god.
And I had those. Yeah, I loved it. So then naturally I sorry.
I don't think they can hear it.
There's a group of boys who live across the way from us, and they're very loud.
They have their windows open and then we have our windows open. So it's like we can just hear.
Yeah, and they have just like the timbre of their voices is just very like attention grabbing.
The timbre.
Anyway,
I love Hilary Duff. She's like one of my idols.
Yeah, always have, always will. Just like I think I was into Lizzie McGuire at first, and then somehow found that she had this whole album and like just loved it. My favorite song on it was Come Clean or Coming Clean, whatever it's called. I too wanted to let the rain fall down.
Was Getaway on Metamorphosis or on Hilary Duff, her self-titled album that came after?
That was on Hilary Duff, which I also had.
Yeah, loved. I had one of them. I think it was Hilary Duff, and I remember loving that one. It's like,
put the pedal down.
And right before it, she's sitting at a red light, right? She's like, sitting at a red light.
Yeah.
She's like, what is it? It's like, was that a decent impression? She's like, I can't keep coming back just so you can. I don't know. I can't remember.
There's like the spoken word part. Yeah, that's true. I always forget about that second album.
Is it just a detour? 'Cause I gotta be sure that you really mean what you say, or something like that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Hilary, oh my gosh. She's such a good mom. She has such a cute husband. She has such a cute life. I love her so much. I'm like, she's like hair gold.
I know.
She's learning guitar. I'm so happy for her. Yeah, I feel like I wasn't a huge Lizzie McGuire person. I would sometimes watch the reruns. I loved the Lizzie McGuire movie, though.
Yeah.
And I had a Lizzie McGuire Game Boy game. And I loved Cadet
Kelly.
Yes.
I also have. We've talked about how we both had the Game Boy game, right? Oh, I loved that.
Definitely a big Hilary Duff fan, but I feel like I wasn't... I feel like I wasn't full on into Disney Channel until things like... Hannah Montana was Waverly Place, That's So Raven. Like, I feel like those were the ones that really got me watching Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Probably because my brother didn't necessarily watch things like Lizzie McGuire. Like, so I watched a lot of like Nickelodeon instead of Disney Channel because of my brother. But then I got a little bit older and I would seek out like a Hannah Montana and whatnot.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch Nickelodeon when I was a kid. So maybe that, like, maybe that's why I got into
Drake
it.
and Josh is too rowdy.
Yeah, and like all that and SpongeBob. Nickelodeon did objectively have like raunchier
They did.
material.
Yeah. Wow.
But maybe I think I just was exclusively watching Disney Channel. So like anything on Disney Channel, I was watching it.
What else is on your childhood list?
There's an Ali and AJ album. What is it called? I need to look it up.
I don't know, but Potential Breakup Song is my jam.
It's not, it doesn't have that. It's before that. It's the one that has the song Sticks and Stones on it. Oh, Into the Rush.
Into the Rush. Remember
Don't
when they
let
were
nobody tell you that your life is over. See every color that you
Ooh,
are.
yes.
Into the rush. Yeah.
Was that part of like one of their movies? Like, remember they had a movie about like cows?
It was like cowbells or something.
Yeah, it was like they were like milking.
I think so.
cows
This
or something.
it came out in 2005, so I think it was like before
Wow.
that time. It was like AJ was still on Phil of the Future, or Allie was.
Allie,
I can't
yeah.
remember.
I always wanted to be AJ, like of the two of them.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that album rocks. Actually, I should revisit.
Their new stuff is fun. I love Church.
Yeah,
And
it is good.
all the titles are forgetting me right now. Forgetting me? I don't know.
I know. There's a word that fits into that slot, but
Leaving me.
Anyway, do you have any more childhood ones?
Yeah. Okay. So my two biggest four biggest influences when it came to music in like my early childhood were probably my dad. I feel like he showed me like oldies. Like we would listen to like Magic 106.7. If you're from Boston, you know what that means. And with my mom, I would listen to more like country. And with my brother, I would listen to more rap. But then my cousin got me into like, she's the one who got me into Dream Street. And she got me into Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. And then Oops, I Did It Again. And first of all, when I was doing like research, because I wanted to grab like the years that these came out, she had albums out in like 1999, 2000, 2001, 2003. Like
She's a
Britney was
machine.
working.
Yeah.
You better work, bitch. I love this episode already.
Autobiographical.
So I have those on there. I've got the Eminem show, which had like Without Me, Haley's song, Sing for the Moment, Clean Out My Closet.
Do you remember a Britney album where she was sitting on a swing?
Yes.
I remember having that on cassette.
Whoa.
She was sitting on a swing. I can't remember what it was called. And I got it
That's
at
funny.
this store that sold CDs that I'm pretty sure was called Strawberry. Do you remember that at all?
No. Something about this is like hitting me weird, but I don't.
When I was on my work trip, they were like making fun of me because I was like the youngest one there by far, and they were just like talking about things that like they didn't think I would remember, and they brought that store up, and I was like, no, I viscerally remember getting the Britney Spears
Something
cassette
about
tape
you
from
saying that.
Strawberry. The logo was literally a strawberry.
I don't know. You just like unearthed some sort of weird memory in my brain. I definitely didn't have anything on cassette. I remember having like a cassette player in the car, and my mom had like books on tape, I think, as cassettes. But it was very much like a CD.
Yeah, I had that
person.
on cassette, and I also had Black and Blue by Backstreet Boys on cassette.
Wow. Yeah, I have like some honorable mentions here. Well, so also like Shania Twain's greatest hits. Do you remember Lindsay Lohan's Speak?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well all you need to know is, do you remember the song Rumor or Rumors?
Yes.
I'm tired of rumors starting.
Yes.
I'm sick of being followed. It's
Yes.
like, Jesus, Lindsay.
Yes.
Hannah Montana 2 / Meet Miley Cyrus. Walk the Line soundtrack. And then just like artists for honorable mention are like the Beatles, Elton John, Bob Seger, Garth Brooks, John Mellencamp, George Strait, Leanne Rimes, Jewel, Bob Dylan, the Beach Boys, the Backstreet Boys, the Dixie Chicks, Fleetwood Mac, Maroon 5, Train.
Dixie
Those
Chicks.
are all people that like they're all over like playlists of like my childhood songs.
Those chicks,
but I don't know what I listen to like in full albums, but those are some of the peeps.
Yeah.
Moving into middle school.
Yes.
Is that your next?
So I have a couple that like toe the line for me between, I would say they literally were between like 5th and 6th grade.
Okay.
So they literally towed the line. Well, the first one I do know was 5th grade, and it was Wicked.
Okay.
It was Wicked. No, it was literally the Wicked soundtrack. It was wicked awesome. I did dance when I was growing up, and one of my friends from dance was like able to go see it with her family, and like came back and told me all about it and showed it to me. And I think that might have been the first Broadway show I had ever like listened to or gotten into fully. But this friend and I in 5th grade, don't ask me why or if it was like organized or not, but we got up in front of our 5th grade class one day and sang What Is This Feeling together, with me as Elphaba, of course, and her as Glinda.
And you don't remember if someone was like, you guys should sing.
Exactly. Like, I don't remember if it was like show and tell, like talent day or something like that, or
Probably
if
not.
it was literally just like, Mrs. Cosmini, can we perform What Is This Feeling from Wicked for the class today?
Well,
and she had the CD, so I remember putting it in Mrs. Cosmini's CD player. And
well,
then,
maybe it was some sort of organized thing if you like had the CD on you too, or she had the CD.
Maybe she just brought it just in case we'd have our time to shine.
That is so fun. I had those moments. Like, me and my friend Julia got up and sang The Climb in front of our 7th grade or 8th grade Spanish class, but it was like, no, 8th grade. But it was because people asked.
I love
which
it.
was random.
Yeah,
and then,
I don't think anyone asked us for that.
And that happened to me again in like, maybe, I don't remember. Honestly, it might have been like junior or senior year. I remember that people found out that like I got into my a cappella group or something, and they were like, you should sing for us. So I like sang them
People
Adele.
always do that. Ambitious for your first.
Well, it's because it was my audition song, so I felt comfortable doing it. I felt like I was good enough at it. Clearly because I got into the group, so I was like, well, then this is a safe song to sing. But imagine me in the middle of an algebra class singing Rolling in the Deep.
I love it.
People are probably like, who is singing in the this is astronomical.
I think that's probably what people were thinking when I sang What Is This Feeling from Wicked.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was definitely 5th grade because I have that memory. But I can't remember if this other one is like late elementary school or early middle school, but that was around the time that I was introduced to someone who is like still one of my biggest musical influences today. And that's Ingrid Michaelson. Many of you know.
Woo!
I'm a big fan of Ingrid. And that was around the time that a friend of mine introduced me to her. And I remember in the mornings we would sit on the bus together, and either she had an iPod or it was a Walkman, like you were saying. At that point it was probably an iPod, but we would like share headphones, and I remember her being like, you should check this out, I think you would like it. And I was like, I love it. So I wrote down a few album titles because Ingrid released a few albums around like 2006, 7, 8 kind of time. So she had Be Okay, Everybody, and Girls and Boys was her first album. And I actually remember renting Girls and Boys from the Seekonk Public Library and illegally burning it onto my computer.
This is the kind of stuff that I'm like, has the statute of limitations run out?
I really just lived on the edge when it came to my music. But yeah, I rented it and I burned it and then I had it forever as my own.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've never stopped loving her. Oh my god, did I just delete my note by accident? I think I just deleted my note by accident.
Oh no.
Can you not recover?
Well, I feel like usually you would like Control Z, but I don't know how you would do that in your phone.
Oh, recently deleted. Oh, thank God.
Oh yeah, that is a thing.
How do I like
Crisis
bring it? Recover. Oh my God, you guys, that really was a crisis. Wow, that was crazy.
Should I leave all this in?
Sure.
All right.
That was so nerve-wracking because I wrote so many notes down. Yeah, anyway, girls and boys. Love it. Love Ingrid. Always have, always will.
So was that middle school?
It carried into middle school, but it started early middle school, the latest, I would say. So it could have been like late elementary school, but I can't really remember. Yeah, love her. And I got to meet her recently, very, very briefly, when I went to her concert. It's cool because, like, when you're a kid, at least for me, like, I wasn't allowed to go to concerts. Even, like, when we got into, like, middle school, high school, and friends started going to concerts, even with, like, a parent chaperoning, I still wasn't allowed to go. So it was cool to be able to, like the first time I got to see Ingrid in concert, it just felt so cool because I was like, I always wanted to see her as a kid, but I never could. So now, like, adult me is able to, which is nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we, like, fully transitioned into middle school now, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your middle school ones?
Okay, my middle school list was a time when I feel like I only listened to albums from Disney people, like Disney Channel people. And if there were other things I listened to, I couldn't remember them when I was trying to make this list. Or I didn't listen to their albums. I only listened to, like, them, like, a few of their songs. Like, I feel like that was when I was listening to the radio.
Yeah.
That was what, like, I feel like that was, like, the age where I was listening to the radio, tuning in. So I have Miley Cyrus Breakout, which is 2008.
What are the, like, singles off of, like, what would we know?
7 Things.
Okay, yes.
Let's see, what else is from that album that's, like, Goodbye, which is her breakup song with Nick Jonas. Ooh. What else is from that album that people would know?
I feel like 7 Things is good. Like, that brings me back to, like, a very clear time in life.
Yeah. The Jonas Brothers, A Little Bit Longer, which is 2008.
Yeah.
And then
God.
Lines, Vines, and Trying Times, which is 2009. And then I saw they were my first ever concert in 2009, the summer after 7th grade. I went with 2 of my friends and 2 parents.
Love it.
One of them being my mom. Demi Lovato's Don't Forget album in 2008. Taylor Swift's Fearless album, 2008. Kesha's Animal came out in 2010. And I specifically remember, like, being at someone's house and, like, that, like, TikTok.
There were a couple of genuinely good songs on that album. Do you remember the song Steven?
No.
Steven.
No.
Steven, why won't you call me?
No,
there are a couple of good, genuinely good songs.
I don't remember that, but I do remember, like, Your Love Is My Drug, and I remember Animal. I remember actually liking the song Animal, and then she had a song with, like, 303 on there. Oh wait, was that No, that wasn't TikTok. She had,
blah blah blah
blah blah blah. I just remember, like, being at some sort of, like, party, I put that in quotes, at someone's house and that playing. And then some honorable mentions I wrote down were Paramore, Kelly Clarkson, Lady Antebellum. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember a lot of, like, what I would listen to other than just Disney people. Like, I just remember being really into their stuff. and having their CDs and like Hannah Montana and things like that. I was very childish in what I liked at that age. Not in terms of like, it's not that I was ever like a Disney kid where I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to listen to like the Lion King soundtrack. Like, it wasn't like I was childish in that way. It was just like I was very innocent, and I found meaning and I found purpose in things like Demi Lovato's Don't Forget album, and like her album Here We Go Again was right after my crush broke up with me after a day. And so like I was feeling music, and I was like very deeply like thinking about the words and the lyrics, but it was like who I was listening to wasn't very deep. Which is funny.
Do you remember listening to Radio Disney at all?
Yes.
I loved listening to
But
Radio
only
Disney.
some cars got it. Or something. It was like it was an
AM station.
Yes, it was like an elite station.
Which is weird. Like, why was it?
But I remember my friend's dad had it in his truck, and so we were listening to it in his truck.
Yeah, I feel like I know I had it in my house on like my radio in my room, but I do kind of remember it being like a little scratchy. Like, it wasn't the best.
Yeah, I don't think we got it in our car, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it was like 505 or something. I remember.
Yeah.
Well,
thank God for Kiss 108 though.
I also did appreciate and enjoy all of the Disney stars that you just listed. However, the majority of my middle school music experience was very angsty.
Very emo as hell.
So like this is where I get into explaining my emo phase. So the first CD that I bought with my own money was A Fever You Can't Sweat Out by Panic at the Disco, which has what is it even called? Oh, I Write Sins Not Tragedies. Mm-hmm. And I remember buying it at Walmart with my grandma, and of course she was like, oh, fun, you kids and your music. Like, she has no idea.
I love that.
So then I remember going home, and there's a song on it called, and like this song title is so indicative of like what all song titles were by like pop punk people at the time. The song was called Lying is the Most Fun a Girl Can Have Without Taking Her Clothes Off.
Lying.
Yeah.
Lying. Okay.
Wow. And there's an F-bomb in that song.
I can tell you I've had a lot more fun not lying or taking my clothes off.
I know. I'm also like, 12, 13 at the time. Like, whoa.
Okay, Brendan.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely my first like crush, side note. But
he's a cutie.
So cute.
I don't know if like he's aged better, because I don't remember like ever.
He just
like
looks the same.
Okay.
But actually better, because at the time of A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, he had like, have you ever seen, this is like a weird reference, but have you ever seen pictures of the movie A Clockwork Orange?
No.
So the star of it has this
photos.
like, he has this haircut where it's like a bowl cut, but it's like above his chin.
Oh, I'm not into that.
So it's like, yeah, it's like a really ugly haircut, and that's what Brendan Urie had at the time of this album. Anyway, the song Lying ... had an F-bomb in it, and I viscerally remember going home and taking a Sharpie to the lyric book and blacking out the F-bomb in the lyric book.
Just so your parents wouldn't see it?
Yes.
Wow.
So to support why I did that, I have another story. But like, first with Panic, I've seen Panic 9 or 10 times in my life with my friend Alex, who we were just like obsessed, and any opportunity we could get, we saw them. And they were my first like friend concert. Her dad, bless his heart, drove us all the way to the State Theater in Portland, Maine.
Oh my
God. It was like 2 or 3 hours away, and it was amazing. It was for their Vices and Virtues tour.
I'm trying to find, so I'm looking at photos of him, but he honestly looks good on all of them. So what year can I plug in?
Look up I Write Sins Not Tragedies music video.
Okay.
Yeah, huge Panic stan. But the the other story I have about a different album that like helps support why I felt like I needed to black out the F-bomb in the lyric book is for the album Nothing Personal by All Time Low. So I was out with my parents at a Walmart and bought the album because loved All Time Low. And we got in the car after buying the album in the Walmart parking lot. All excited, I like open up the album cover and like look in the lyric book, and I'm like, wow, fun, like I love being emo, this is great.
I love the lyric books, by the way. I used to read every single, I still do like song credits and oh my gosh, I love all that stuff. Who they dedicate it to.
So I meant to like Google this to like fact check myself, but I'm pretty sure that when you opened up either the CD case or the lyric book, one of the band members, it was a picture of them flipping up the middle finger.
Ooh.
And so my mom saw that.
Ooh.
And she was not okay with it. And at the same time, we put in the album right away because I'm like, let's listen.
Oh, no.
Because like, to like paint a picture, it's like in my heart, I'm like as emo as can be. But on the outside, I'm just like a nerdy 6th grader with braces. Like I'm not like actually playing the part well.
Yeah, did you dress like goth?
I tried to. So I had side bangs and I would wear them, and maybe I'm thinking of a specific picture so we can post it on social. But I used to like put my side bangs over one eye.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking up pictures of like the emo haircut, and they always had those like layers that covered their face. So yeah, I tried to within my limits. But anyway, we put the CD in, and the first track on it is called Weightless, and within like 30 seconds, there's an F-bomb. And we're still in the parking lot of Walmart at this point.
Oh, no!
Because my mom is already like suspicious because of the middle finger.
Stop.
So I kid you not, she stops the album, puts it back in the case, and goes back into Walmart and returns it right away.
Oh, were you so sad?
Yeah, I think I was like very upset. I probably cried a lot. Because I was emo. I was emotional. She took my music away from me.
I know. And, you know, to open albums, it's always kind of hard. You have to, like, there's always tape over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she had to, like, tape it back up.
We couldn't even leave the parking lot.
That's actually really sad.
I know.
Something about that hits me in the feels. That's cute, though.
So, yes, there's that.
I was scared of people like you. Or you know why? Because I was very anxious, and I didn't like feeling like I felt I had a lot of guilt. Like we know this about me. Part of my personality is like, maybe not my personality, maybe it's something I need to work through, but my default feeling is often guilt in situations, and like I would feel guilty if I like knew that my friends like listened to like hardcore music, or if they like I remember like people who were emo used to wear like a lot of bracelets. And it was kind of like, I think the whole idea was to give this illusion that they might have been self-harming or they might not have been. Mm-hmm. I think the reason people started doing it was because of that. But so I remember having like a friend who would kind of do that, and it made me like nervous to be around her. And like I was like that kind of person. Like I was very guilt-ridden, very anxious, very like afraid.
Yeah.
That I like was not aware of something going on. So like I was a very nervous person.
I was very emotional and wanted to have outlets. Like I felt a lot of like anger and like frustration with like people in my life, and I just like didn't.
It's so interesting. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, I'm saying it because like that. I think that's why I got into that kind of music, because I just like it was like vindicating for me to listen to people sound angsty, because I felt angsty.
Yeah.
But some other albums on the list to rattle off from that time are Riot by Paramore. Mm-hmm. Huge classic. A Lesson in Romantics by Mayday Parade. Dying is Your Latest Fashion by Escape the Fate, which has this song on it called Situations, which has a lyric in it that's like, she loves the way that I love the way that you tease, you love the way that I breathe.
You've told me about that line.
Yeah. I feel like if I really did a deep dive on the songs that I listened to, I would realize that the lyrics were all extremely problematic towards women.
Yeah.
So they were all like, Amy won't let me kiss her, and she can go to hell because she won't kiss me. Like that kind of stuff.
Oh my
God. Anyway,
the most fun a girl can have is lying. Well, okay.
Lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking your clothes off. Underdog Alma Mater by Forever the Sickest Kids. Fast Times at Barrington High by The Academy Is, which had a song on it called About a Girl that I was obsessed with. So yeah, that was like big time emo phase for me. And
wow,
honestly, I loved it. I felt seen.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have like 3 more categories, like high school, college, and post-college, and we're already at 55 minutes.
Oh my God. Well, I guess this will be a long one.
So I'm going to go in with my high school picks. So again, same sort of thing as middle school. I don't remember a lot. Like I know I'm missing things, but I think it was because I was at an age where I was, I don't know, downloading songs, listening to the radio. I wasn't necessarily listening to whole albums, but I remember I backtracked after hearing Fearless in like 8th grade. Freshman year of high school, I got really into Taylor Swift's self-titled album. I specifically remember that I was on a soccer team and I was having trouble with 2 girls on it, and I really liked the song Cold As You. It has the lyric like, and now that I'm sitting here thinking it through, I've never been anywhere cold as you. And that's how I felt about those girls. And so I remember listening to that a lot on the bus to our games. And then after freshman year, Lady Gaga put out Born This Way, and that was like my album of the summer. I went on a couple of vacations with a couple of like my friends. Like my friend came on my family's vacation, and then I went on hers. And I remember the whole time we listened to Lady Gaga's Born This Way while we sat out and tanned and put lemon juice in our hair.
Glamorous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we went and got fake piercings down the street and freaked my mom out. It was great.
God. That's a whole mood.
It was. And then that same summer, one of my friends introduced me to Daughtry, and I unironically liked Daughtry. And you know what? Some of the songs are like, I have them on like a nostalgia playlist, because some of those songs, it's like you gotta go in on them.
It's Not Over is Daughtry, right?
Yeah, I was literally
that
thinking,
song
I was like,
slaps.
It's not over.
Trying to do it right this time around. Yeah, love it.
And remember the song, All That I'm After is a life full of laughter, as long as I'm laughing with you. And I feel like that was everyone's like AIM bio or like Facebook lyrics or whatever.
Good stuff.
So if you say that you didn't go through a Daughtry phase, you're fucking lying. Go back through your Facebook. I'm sure you'll
those
find
2 songs alone. Like,
yeah,
come on.
But even like Not Over You was another one. It's not over, but then there's also Over You. It's like, I got over you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was a phase. Kelly Clarkson's Stronger. Someone bought me that for my birthday.
My mom bought that for herself, which I
love
was so cute. It's like, you are stronger, Mom.
That had some really good songs on it, like War Is Over, Mr. Einstein.
My Life Would Suck Without You. Is that album?
No, that's the album that has like, it might be called All I Ever Wanted. I know it has the song All I Ever Wanted on it, but I loved that too. My Life Would Suck Without You was definitely like a middle school song. Loved that. That reminds me of summer.
Yeah.
But then I loved the song Cry.
Oh yes.
But I didn't listen to that whole album, but the Stronger one someone bought me, so I listened to it in full. I also got into Jana Kramer. So that was sort of like, I went back and did like some country, and I loved that. I also found Jacob Bug, his self-titled album.
with you.
Oh my gosh. Marissa's very into the song Broken right now, which is a great song, but it's just like so random that you're into that right now.
It was a mood at the beginning of quarantine when I was feeling like emo about quarantine.
Yeah. I love his song Two Fingers. So I hold two fingers up to yesterday.
He's very Bob Dylan-y to me.
Yes.
Which makes a lot of sense for you.
Exactly. Miley Cyrus released Bangers in 2013, and yes, I did go through a phase with it. My friend Sylvan also got me, who did our podcast artwork, also got me into Royalty, their album Glow in 2013. So that is like the summer going into college, or yeah, it came out in 2013, but I was really into it the summer going into college. And yeah, and then some honorable mentions are Lord, because I remember things like
so good.
We built this city on the screen, not very pretty, but we know how to run things.
Yeah, what's this one called?
I'm trying to see if I can get there through the lyrics.
Team.
We're on each other's team. I remember that song was huge.
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood, I got into some of her stuff then. Sweeney Todd. Honorable mention to Sweeney Todd. See, the thing is, I almost included every musical I've been in because, like, for months at a time, it was like I was listening to the musical soundtracks, but I decided not to do that. But specifically, honorable mention to Sweeney Todd because it's kind of a joke between me and Marissa that Sweeney Todd was my favorite show I've ever been in. And so it's like a joke between me and Marissa that I like love Sweeney Todd, and I'm like so Andy much. On The Office. It's Andy he's like the whole reason that Sweeney Todd episode exists, right?
Yes, because he's doing the play at his like community theater.
That's so important to me. So honorable mention to Sweeney Todd.
I showed that, like we watched that together, right?
I think so, but I think it's been so long that I don't remember it.
Yeah,
we should watch that.
Yeah, we should. It's very funny.
What am the tale of Sweeney Todd? Okay, go on.
Well, do you have any more from high school, or should I?
Oh, you go right ahead. I've got nothing else. I know I do, but like I don't remember them.
Okay, so the overarching theme for me with high school is that's when I started to get more into the music that I'm into now. Like I started to get away from like the extreme angst and really like find music that resonated with me in a deep emotional way. So let me think. So my friend Alex and I, who I mentioned with Panic, we used to go to these free concerts every summer in Providence that were put on by WBRU, which was
WBUR?
I think it was BRU. I'm getting confused with the Emerson station, but that's WERS, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was WBRU. It was Brown's college radio station. And they played awesome songs. That sounded so cheesy. They played awesome songs.
Yeah.
But they would play like indie, very alternative, like that kind of stuff, like
awesome.
Like not top 40, like
unafraid to reference or not reference.
So they had these concerts, and like Group Love was one of them. They had a great album.
I remember people were really into Group Love.
Yeah. They had like Take Me to Your Best Friend's House. That was like a major mood. The 1975 came to one of those free concerts, which is like absolutely bonkers to me now because like we're obsessed with the 1975. So the fact that I just like drove 10 minutes to go see them for free in high school is like,
that ain't right.
It doesn't. And I'm so mad because like at the time they were just like an up and coming like anybody else. Mm-hmm. And at these free concerts, it was very, very easy to stay after the show and meet the band. Aww. And like, so I have pictures with, I think I have pictures with people from a band called Magic Man that had a couple of good songs. I might have pictures with New Politics, who were like sort of medium big at that time. But yeah, no pictures with Maddie Healy of the 1975.
That's such a shame.
Very upsetting.
If you could only like go back and tell yourself that you would end like you wouldn't even care about those other bands, but you would love the 1975.
I know, it's very upsetting. But yeah, their debut album with like Chocolate and Sex on it was like a huge one. I also, what else did I write down?
We'll call it a
don't call it fight when you know it's war.
But what is the thing?
City.
Split.
Oh, call it split because you know it you will.
Call her split because you know it you will. And you all smell like ugly. It's my Maddie Healy impression.
I had a friend named Tori give me a CD by The Head and the Heart called Let's Be Still, and they're a very like folky indie band. I was also really into the Lumineers self-titled album when like Ho Hey was playing on the radio every 2 seconds.
I don't think you're right for him.
Hey,
look at what it might have been if we took a bus. Yeah. That was such like I feel like junior year feel. Wow.
And I also was really into the Once soundtrack by Glenn Hansard. That's where Falling Slowly comes from. Also very folky and moody. And most importantly, in late high school is when I was introduced to Joni Mitchell.
It was late high school?
Yep.
Wow.
So what happened was I either like late junior year, I guess, or I can't really remember like how the college search process worked, but I stayed overnight at Wheaton College and had like a shadow, like I shadowed this girl who was a student there, and she was in an a cappella group. I feel like I remember this night like super fondly because like I'm pretty sure I'm still like friends on Facebook with her and stuff.
Is it the Wheat Tones?
I can't remember. It was an all-female group though.
Yeah.
But so it was like
I know someone in
that was also my first introduction to a cappella besides like Pitch Perfect. So that was really cool. I just like we like went to an a cappella rehearsal of hers, and her a cappella group sang A Case of You by Joni Mitchell.
Wow.
And I still remember sitting in that room and being like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
And so that night I was staying in her dorm with her, and we like stayed up late playing guitar and singing songs, and she like played me more Joni Mitchell.
You'd think this memory and this experience alone would have made you go there.
I know.
Because it seems like really impactful.
I know. It really was. It was definitely my like second, like if I didn't go to Emerson, I would have gone there. But yeah, that was the night I discovered Joni. And so her album Blue is what A Case of You is from. And that album is hands down my favorite album of all time. And in my opinion, the best album of all time. It's just
of all albums ever?
Yes.
Whoa.
Like it's just she's the most brilliant genius songwriter, because she uses all these like wacky chords and she like plays instruments in really unconventional ways. She's a beautiful poet, songwriter. Yeah, that album is just like so beautiful. If you haven't listened to Blue by Joni Mitchell, please listen to Blue by Joni Mitchell. So yeah, that was late high school, and that's the last one I have for high school phase. Should we hop into college?
I was gonna play the Lady Gaga interview.
Oh my god!
But then I couldn't find it.
Me describing Blue by Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I couldn't
Beautiful,
call it up in time.
Fantastic, amazing,
Show-stopping.
never to be done before, never to be seen again, unafraid to reference or not reference. That is me describing that album.
Yeah, I that is the funniest gif of all time. Here it is.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference, put it in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it.
That's Marissa describing blue.
That was my inner monologue hearing Case of You for the first time.
That's so funny.
It's like, somebody just stomp on me. This is too beautiful.
Well, so my next phase is college. And I wrote things kind of in the order that I could think of them, but also kind of in the order that they came out, and like I found them after the fact. So I remember fall was very much painted by Taylor Swift's 1989. I don't remember a ton of other stuff that I was into at that time. I just happen to remember that album because I remember like thinking of certain songs that correlated to things that I was doing in my life.
Yeah.
I remember that spring I got into 4 by One Direction.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the first time I got into One Direction. I wasn't like a Midnight Memories
Stockholm
person.
Syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm
Clouds.
Syndrome. Steal My Girl.
Steal Your Girl. Yes.
Yeah.
Steal My Girl, I think.
Everybody wants to steal my girl. Yeah. So what did I love? My 2 favorites were Stockholm Syndrome and well, I loved Night Changes, but I'm thinking of another one that I can't think of right now for some reason.
Is You and I on that album?
I don't think so. I'm thinking of another one that I think begins with an N, and I don't know why I'm not thinking.
Never Enough?
No. I don't remember.
No Control?
No Control. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Fool's Gold is on that album too. That's one of my favorite One Direction songs.
I just remember I loved Stockholm Syndrome, No Control, Night Changes, Steal My Girl. Oh my gosh. I got really into that. I also that summer discovered 21 Pilots. So a lot of my music taste at this time was very influenced by my roommates, and so they got me into like whatever they were listening to. I was like, always in their room, and I was always hearing it throughout the suite, and so I just got really into it. So they sort of introduced me to One Direction. They introduced me to the 1975, which is when I listened to their self-titled album that came out the year before, or I guess it came out in 2013. I guess I didn't get into it technically until 2015. And then that summer I got into Blurry Face, which was the newest 21 Pilots album. But then I also like backtracked and got into Vessel. Moving into like sophomore year, I think like the biggest, most impactful thing that happened sophomore year for music was Beyonce's Lemonade.
Absolutely.
I can't think about 2016, like what I was listening to without thinking about that. My friend Kareen introduced me to Oh Wonder, which you went to. Did you go to that concert with Kareen?
I went to Group Love, and Muna opened for them.
Okay.
With Kareen.
So I remember Kareen went to their concert, and I heard some of their stuff, and I was like, I really like this. So I listened to that whole album. We ended up I convinced our music director to arrange one of their songs, and we did that in our a cappella group.
Blah, blah,
yeah, we weren't. It wasn't.
Blah, blah.
Looking back, it wasn't the best.
Shout out to the AT homies who remember blah blah blah.
Oh my gosh. Do 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 da dum da dum da dum. The first song I ever beatboxed for the group, and the last song I ever beatboxed.
Lit.
Harry Styles' self-titled album.
Oh, yeah, man.
We're moving away from One Direction now. So I remember I had an internship in the city, and I was living at home, and I remember listening to that on the train back and forth. It was all Kiwi and Woman, and yeah, I loved that album. My favorite from that was Ever Since New York. That was my favorite one from that album. But I love how often he references fruit. Like high, like cherry, watermelon, sugar, kiwi. Love that. Then I remember doing an internship at Boston.com, and I had to, one of my like kind of random jobs was someone wrote like music coming to Boston. So it was like a weekly thing about people who are going to perform in Boston and some of their top songs or like any information that was relevant to them. But under each person, we would pin like a music video. And it was my job to go through the article and build it, and also, or I think build it, I don't remember, and go through the music videos and make sure they were PG enough for the site, because we had all different kinds of artists coming to Boston. And I remember listening to a Billie Eilish song. I think it was probably, well, it was from Don't Smile at Me. It was from that album. I don't remember what it was, but I remember from that, something about that was so impactful to me, and I was like, how I pictured Billie Eilish was so different from who she actually was, when she was like 15 or 16 at the time.
She was so
and
young.
I immediately listened to the whole entire album, fell in love with like Copycat, Don't Wanna Be You, Bellyache, Hostage. I loved that whole album. She comes up again later in postgrad. John Mayer, The Search for Everything. I loved that album top to bottom. I've loved like a few of his, like a few one-off songs from him, like Edge of Desire and Heartbreak Warfare, and some of his like more like everyone knows like his classic songs. But that album I listened to like top to bottom, and that was like Love on the Weekend. Love that. Mm-hmm. Miley Cyrus's Younger was the soundtrack to my semester in LA, because that came out. She had Malibu on it. So I like went to Malibu and listened to Malibu. And then I just remember like walking down the street in like sunny California listening to like I Feel So Much Younger Now. Ed Sheeran put out Divide. Mm-hmm. That like divided my heart.
Major album.
Yeah, that was a huge. I remember we listened to that all the time. We ended up doing Castle on the Hill. Marissa sang that. Is this going to be on your list?
It wasn't, because I was going to say I had a hard time coming up with albums from college, but it should be for sure.
These are all albums that truly I feel like shifted what I was listening to. Like these were like these got me really listening to full albums. And Ed Sheeran's Divide was totally one of them. I listened to that start to finish on a car ride home from Rhode Island and alone, and loved it and listened to it for weeks. And then Lady Gaga put out Joanne in 2016, going back a little bit. Oh my
God.
That was a big deal.
How could I forget about Joanne? We both listened to Joanne.
Yeah, loved Joanne.
So good.
And then like some honorable mentions of like people that I was into at the time. I only put a few just because I there were so many people, but like I remember really liking The Weeknd. I liked Drake. Justin Bieber put out like Sorry and like that album that I don't remember the rest of, but it was like Sorry.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? And those were iconic. There was so much good music that came out from like 2014 to 2018 when we graduated, but those were just some albums that I remember having like strong reactions to, and loving like the whole thing from top to bottom.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, because at this point we now know each other and we were influencing each other's music too.
Yeah.
I also missed, so the 1975 self-titled album, but on the flip of that,
that's on mine.
I Like It When You Sleep, For You Are So Beautiful and Yet So Unaware of It, came out in 2016 and rocked my frickin' world. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like for me it was hard to think of albums from college that were personal to me, because that was when I started using Spotify. So that was when I first started just like focusing on individual like songs and artists rather than albums, because I left all my CDs at home. So I tried to think more of like albums that I remembered listening to with like other people, which like Joanne was one, Ed Sheeran's was one, Adele's 25.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was huge.
Yes.
We loved Adele's 25. Wow,
yes.
wow.
Yes, that was huge.
What's your favorite song from that?
What is my favorite song?
I can't remember your
from
favorite
that?
right now.
I can't either.
I always know your favorites, and I can't think of it right now.
It has like Million Years Ago, Sweetest Devotion.
Are you All I Ask? Was that your favorite?
Oh yeah, it was. I haven't listened to this album in so long, but yeah, that definitely was my favorite.
So I remember our other friend really liked Remedy. That was their favorite. My favorite was always Water Under the Bridge. Send My Love to Your New Lover. Hello.
Yeah, that album is so good.
Wow.
Hero by Maren Morris was a big one for me in college. The songs Once and Wish I Was off of that album are like perfect songs in my opinion.
I love I Wish I Was.
Lemonade was on my list. The 1975 I Like It When You Sleep For You're So Beautiful and So Unaware of It was on my list. We love a bulky album title. Hamilton is on my
Hamilton was
list.
on my list too. I forgot. I missed. Wow, what was I doing when I read this list? I bounced all over the place.
Have you read this?
Alexander Hamilton had a torrid affair, and he wrote it down right there. Highlights.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I define college albums more by, like, social settings.
Yeah, I love that.
Whereas, like, in high school, it was so focused on, like, what I was feeling.
Yeah.
I almost just deleted my note again.
Jesus. Well, now we know that there's a simple...
Yeah.
You can delete it. It's fine.
Yeah. In like high school, middle school, I was so like centered on, you know, my feelings and my music taste. And I wasn't really like, besides like listening to like Panic and Fall Out Boy with Alex, I wasn't really like sharing music with other people.
Yeah.
But in college, I really got to do that. So yeah, those are some albums that I like remember listening to with other people and just like feeling so like connected, and I don't know, there's something so special about like, you know, screaming songs out loud with other people, not just alone in your bedroom.
Yeah, totally.
I also really got into Muna because like you said, I went to go see Group Love with Kareen and they opened. I think for the most part, I did carry over a lot of, because I feel like high school was when I started to find the music taste that I have now. I think I was carrying a lot of that stuff over too. Yeah, I don't think I can really remember any other albums from college, really.
I have a lot for post-college. Because I really felt impacted by music post-college. I really feel like that was when the most I listened to like full albums. So I used to really not like listening to whole albums because it seemed so daunting to me.
Yeah.
To hear everything for the first time. But I really got into the habit of doing that post-college for some reason. And I feel like one of the first people that comes to mind with me doing that I was surprised that I did that with was Ariana Grande. Because I was never like a huge Ariana Grande person. I would hear her stuff on the radio and would sing it and whatever. But with Sweetener, I listened to it from start to finish. And I feel like a huge part of that was living with you and Maddie. And so we all were interested in listening to it. And we all like wanted to like pick a favorite song and talk about it. And so that would like got me listening to her in full. And then like when she came out with Thank You Next, like literally not even a year later, I like ended up because of that listening to that in full. I've like fully transitioned into post-college now. Was that cool?
Yeah. Happy graduation. Let's go.
Okay. So I've got Ariana. Phoebe Bridgers. I forgot to put the name of the album. It's
Stranger in the Alps, I think.
Yes. Thank you. I was like, did our power just go out?
No, our lamp in the living room is like precariously plugged in. I realized this when your mom was here because she was pressing the button to turn on the lamp. She was like, why is it not turning on? And it's because I think it got like a little knocked out of the outlet.
Oh, you know why? Because I moved the couch so that Penny, do you want me to get off the couch? I moved to the couch so that Penny could sit in the window, like she wouldn't fall between the couch and the window. But when I did that, I must have knocked it out of the outlet. I'm prepared to go in. Why am I still holding the microphone as if like...
I am too.
What is happening? All right. Well, we're back. I'm probably going to cut that out, but I basically just had to like put it in the outlet behind the couch, and then my arm got stuck in between the wall and the couch, and now we're back.
Anyway, Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridgers.
Stranger in the Alps. Maddie introduced me to Phoebe, and she introduced me to her with the song Motion Sickness, and I just like fell in love with that, and then fell in love with the whole entire album subsequently. The 1975 released A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships in 2018, and that was the first time I got to see them in concert, was with that tour. And then they just released, a few months ago, Notes on a Conditional Form, so the love for them is still strong. When I think of summer 2018, I think of King Princess, Make My Bed. I got into Casey Musgraves through you and Maddie, and I would say I really got into her probably in like January 2019-ish, and at the same time I got into her, I got really into Maggie Rogers, because Maggie Rogers had just come out with Heard It in a Past Life, and I had heard her singles because you would put them on a playlist for me, and I really, really liked them. I loved Light On, Falling Water, I can't remember.
I was obsessed with Alaska.
Yes, Alaska. But when that album came out, I can't even explain it. That like hit me in a place where I felt so energized creatively. Like she made me want to like write music again. She made me want to like write poetry. She made me want to like sing out loud. Something about that album I like needed. It like revived me in like, because it came out in January when it's just sort of like blah out, and it freaking revived me, and like just I needed an album that was about like unapologetic acceptance of self or something, and I just loved that. And I got into Maren Morris, her album Girl, because of you. I really liked the song Girl. Love Sigrid, got really into Sigrid.
Yes.
Maddie had introduced me to Sucker Punch by Sigrid, and then I ended up just like listening to the whole album because we got tickets to see her in concert. I loved that. That same fall, so this was last fall now, I saw Phineas with his EP Blood Harmony. Every single Phineas song I love. I got really into him because he is dating a YouTuber that I watched, and so I found him because she was like, "Oh, my boyfriend Phineas," and then I was like, "Okay," and so I started listening to him, and and he's also Billie Eilish's brother. But yeah, sometimes I like forget that that's the same.
I know. Honestly, like I like Billy, but you got me into Phineas, and I would say I like his music a lot better than hers.
Yeah, but she's also on this list because I loved When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? That was like such a fun album, but definitely not like I have to be in a mood, I guess, for it.
Same. That was a huge like music moment, I think, her releasing that album.
Yeah, I mean, Bad Guy got like 1,000 Grammys.
Yeah.
Lately, so I've been really into Leon. I don't know how she pronounced it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
She has a self-titled album that I love every single song on. I especially love Pink. She's got Come Home to Me, Surround Me, You and I. Love those. Harry Styles came out with Fine Line.
Hell yeah.
That fricked me out. My favorites are Adore You and Fine Line.
Pour one out for us,
Line,
please,
sorry,
and for our friend Maddie, because we were supposed to go see Harry Styles this very month. And
July 11th, I believe, which was
yesterday.
I think it was literally supposed to be yesterday. Wow.
Everyone, please feel bad for us.
We did nothing to commemorate it.
I know, that's so true. Well, honestly, I feel like I was purposefully like putting the date out of my mind so I wouldn't be sad on that day.
Yeah, I think it was July 11th, but I genuinely don't
I guess
fully
it could
remember.
have been today or... Well, no, it could have been Friday, I guess, or Saturday.
Yeah. R.I.P. our hopes and dreams.
I'm so sad.
But now we're going to see him in October.
Of
Maybe.
2021.
Wait, what? Stop.
You didn't know?
No, I thought it said 2020.
Oh, it's 2021.
Well, that makes sense because I was like, wow, they're really betting on that.
It's a long time
Wait, that's
away.
so crazy. He could like come out with another album between then.
I know. I know.
Hold up. I totally missed the fine print. I'm the one who got the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
2021.
Well, so that sucks.
Yeah.
When I think of last summer, I think about the Jonas Brothers. Happiness Begins.
Yeah.
Don't Throw It Away. Believe Me? Believe? Something like that. I don't remember. Strangers Again. Okay,
I don't know why I don't remember any of these songs.
Now I'm mixing it up with Cigarette. You didn't love the album, I don't think.
What are you talking about?
Happiness Begins.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I liked some of it, but yeah, I don't remember.
Don't throw it away. This time, just take a little time to think. Yeah, big deal. Also, Ingrid Michaelson, Marissa's favorite, besides Joni Mitchell, came out with Stranger Songs, which was an ode to Stranger Things, and Marissa didn't really like that album, but I really did.
In an ironic twist.
My favorite was...
It's very 80s inspired, that's why.
Yeah. Which you apparently don't like.
Well, I do, but I wasn't expecting it from her.
Yeah.
So it just really threw me for a loop. Anyway, go on.
I think I broke my blister. Anyway.
Thorn.
I love that. And the song, I feel like my brain is fried now from saying so many album titles and songs that now I don't remember anything, and I didn't write those as notes because I was like, oh, I know what my favorite songs are.
You liked
Missing You.
Yeah, and she was
and Jealous.
Jealous, yeah.
Oh, I totally broke my blister. That should have been my thorn, was that I burned myself and then it turned into a blister. Banks, her album 3, Maddie got me into, and I'm obsessed with it. If We Were Made with Water, Godless, incredible, show-stopping, brilliant. Ben Platt came out with Sing to Me Instead. Yeah. Brilliant, amazing, show-stopping. Julia Michaels, Nervous System from 2017. Inner Monologue 1, 2019. Inner Monologue 2, 2019. All incredible. Love Julia Michaels. Have become such a fan of her. She does such incredible work. She's also a writer who writes on a ton of other people's stuff. Same with Phineas. He produces a lot of other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes randomly I'll see a song and I'll be like, I love this, and I'll look at the credits because I always look at the credits, and Phineas will have produced it, and I'm like, wow, incredible how that works. Vampire Weekend came out with Father of the Bride. That was like their song This Life was like soundtrack to last summer for me. Lennon Stella came out with 321 a few months ago. Are you laughing because I keep going?
Well, because so many of those are on my list.
Cool.
So my list is dwindling.
Lennon in general, like after college, Marissa got me into her, and I just needed those songs, like her song Breakaway and
Fortress
and Feelings. And then when she came out with this album, I was just like so excited because for so long it had only been like an EP and some one-off singles.
Mm-hmm.
And I love every song on the album. But my favorite is Save Us, which is sort of not a mashup, but she wrote over
I Love You Always Forever.
Yes.
I think that's literally what the song is called.
By Donna Lewis. Is that her name?
Something like that, yeah.
And then some honorable mention artists are Julian Baker, Wet, Dua Lipa, Jeremy Zucker, Sasha Sloan, Love, I don't know. Fickle Friends, Bleachers, and The Japanese House. 'Cause those are all peeps I was into, and there are more, but yeah. Those are just those albums, like it's like I put them on Spotify and I just kept playing them over and over again until I couldn't listen to it anymore.
Yeah. I was really into Lake Street Dive post-grad.
Ooh.
'Cause I went to see them New Year's Eve 2018 into 19. Yeah, I got really into them because they were like kind of part of the lore of Emerson College. Like we knew people in like other a cappella groups who wow, there's like lots of ruckus going on in our apartment building. I'm hearing like stairway noise, outside noise, above us noise. Anyway, yes, Lake Street Dive was part of like the lore of Emerson College because different a cappella groups sang their songs, and they were just like, I feel like kind of a meme to some extent at Emerson. Also, can you guys hear? I know you can't answer me, but can you guys hear what's going on above there?
I'm literally like staring at you with like the most emptiness in my face.
It's so loud. It just stopped. Okay, anyway. Let's see. Golden Hour, massive album. It's funny because I remember listening to Casey Musgraves on country radio when she had like Merry Go Round and Follow Your Arrow, and like who would have thunk that she would have become what she is? I feel like she's such
With
a
her
cool
own Christmas special.
Yeah, she's such a cool example of like music that can satisfy a wide berth of people.
Yeah, she transcends genre.
Yeah, like, you know, she started off in country, and she does have like an accent when she sings, and does have like some southern elements to her music, but also is like very poppy, and also has kind of a cool like retro like 60s 70s kind of thing, just like really cool for the music world. I also was very into Heard It in a Past Life by Maggie Rogers, and I also remember singing it in my car really loudly by myself. What's the song on there that is very slow?
Heard It in a Past Life?
Yeah, on the album. Oh, Past Life. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I was like the title of it, but
I remember like singing my heart out to that song. I also had Vampire Weekend, Father of the Bride, Lennon Stella 321.
yes.
And
you can tell we influenced each other. Like we made each other playlists and
I know.
Got into the same people.
I also found a couple of new bands post-grad, like Peach Pit, who have an album called Being So Normal that's really good. They're kind of like indie, alternative, kind of a little bit like lo-fi. I also found a band called Penny and Sparrow that I like really fell in love with. It's these two guys who defy toxic masculinity.
Are their names Penny and Sparrow?
No, their names are Kyle and Andy.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound as good.
Yeah. They're just like the coolest, sweetest guys. Like on their social media, they always post pictures of them like hugging and being very like sweet with each other. Like they're married. Like they're not actually like together, but they're very like affectionate.
They're married, but not to each other.
Not to each other. Yeah, I think it's really cool because you don't often see that with guys.
That's the vibe that we're going for on our Instagram.
Yeah.
That we haven't posted on in 2 weeks.
Yeah. They put out an album called Finch last fall that was like, personally, I think my favorite album of 2019. It's like really beautiful, folky, has like really cool, unique lyrics in it. They make a lot of references to like literature.
Unafraid to reference or not reference.
And now I would say the two albums that are like defining my quarantine are Talking Book by Stevie Wonder, which has a song on it called Believe. I think it's like Believe parentheses When I Fall in Love. Beautiful, beautiful song that I found watching the show High Fidelity on Hulu, which our friend Maddie introduced me to. And then I just kind of like got into that album, and it's I wouldn't say it's like super early on in his career, but it's definitely it was released in 1972, so he was still like really young. It has Superstition on it. That album is just really, really good. And then the most current album right now is Women in Music 3 by Haim. Mm-hmm. That's like full, like now we're fully up to the present because that's like what I've been like looping nonstop.
Yeah, I was going to ask you at the end of this, like, what are you listening to right now? But
yeah,
there you go.
That's the answer.
Because I know that you've been listening to like some like like whole albums lately.
Yeah.
She's got me into Haim now, so I've been listening to women in music.
Oh my God, the song Gasoline off that album is like, it's just so good. It's such a mood. It's very like, they kind of cross genres on that album, but there's like a lot of like 90s vibes on it.
Yeah, you know what's weird? So whenever I listen to Gasoline, it's like gasoline.
Yeah.
Wanna
Pretty please. Yeah.
I'm so tired. Wanna kick off. Something about that, I feel like you could very much weave into I wanna soak up the sun.
Well, so I think there are a couple other songs on that album that are extremely Sheryl Crow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let me find them.
And that song like really reminds me of like being little in the summer.
Let me see. Oh, I've Been Down.
I love that song.
Gives me massive Sheryl Crow vibes. And full circle moment, there's a song called Man from the Magazine on this Haim album that is like very Joni Mitchell inspired. It's cool. Even on the new Harry Styles album, I remember reading that he tracked down the person who made Joni Mitchell's dulcimer when she was like making music in the 70s. And he had this person like either make him one for this album or just like source him one. So it's just interesting because like I feel like Joni Mitchell just like popped into my life very like apropos of nothing, but it's almost like she also was popping into other people around our age, their lives too, because I am seeing like references to her lately.
Yeah.
So that's always cool to be like, oh, I think they're into her too. But yeah, definitely that Haim album, highly recommend if you haven't listened to it. It's so, so good. And that is like as recent as it gets because it just came out a few weeks ago.
Do you want to plug what you're doing right now for social justice?
Yeah, I feel like because I feel like there are those people on Instagram that like have hundreds of followers. I mean, I do too, I guess, but like their pictures always get hundreds of likes and they get so much engagement. So like I posted this thing and didn't really like get a ton of engagement on it, but I will plug it anyway. I mentioned in our last podcast that something I would really love to do as a job is like curate playlists for certain moods for like a restaurant or a coffee shop or something. And actually, I didn't tell you this, but our friend Mary, after hearing that, asked me to create a playlist for her. And she said she and her roommate would use it to like make dinner and clean in the apartment and stuff.
Okay.
She like gave me some direction, and so I made it for them, and it was really fun. And it got me thinking. I had been seeing a lot in the past like month or so. People making like, you know how people make those like graphic cartoon art kind of things where the people don't have eyes?
Yes.
A lot of people who make that kind of stuff were offering to like make it for people in exchange for a donation to like a human rights organization or Black Lives Matter or anything like that. So I've since seeing those been wanting to do something like that. And then when Mary asked me to make her a playlist, I was like, that's something I could do. So I posted just saying like I would be thrilled to make people playlists with guidance, and in exchange I'd just ask that they made a donation to a human rights organization of their choice. So
love that. If
anyone hearing this is interested, DM me on Instagram, DM the podcast Instagram, let me know. It's really just fun for me.
Yeah, and it's not only your favorite stuff. It's like,
right. I feel like I am obviously biased. Like I have a taste for sure, and there are like areas I'd be better at than others in forming a playlist. But I just love that activity. Just like getting a theme or a mood or a genre and having kind of free reign to shape a playlist for someone.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It made me want to do something similar, but I don't know what.
I know. I didn't know what for the longest time, and then I was like, oh, that's something I could do.
Yeah. Well, this has been really fun. I'm pooped.
I know, we talked a lot, but I mean, that just, it goes to show you how much music means to us.
Yeah, if any of these are your favorite albums, or if you feel like we would really like an album that we didn't list, like based on our taste, please let us know. Go listen to our favorite songs.
Yeah, I think we also, I'm happy to do this. Speaking of making playlists, I think we want to like make a playlist on Spotify so you guys can listen as a companion piece to this episode.
All right. Oh, yeah.
Because we talked about some damn great stuff.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
We feel very strongly about everything mentioned here today.
Yes, totally.
So, yeah. All right. I hope you enjoyed this extra long episode because we missed last week. So we deserve for us to make a super long one to make up for it. So I hope you enjoy it.
Me, she, we, wumbo.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys.
Music go.
Bye.